Our second ministry spotlight today will be to highlight our bookstore, a great resource for those in the parish and those who visit. And Jean Demas, the leader and manager of our bookstore, will be coming forward to speak to us today about the St. Athanasios bookstore.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm not used to speaking in a microphone. But welcome. I'm Jean Demas. I am bookstore coordinator here at St. Athanasios Greek Orthodox Church. And I had a kind of a vision when Father asked me to talk about the impact of the bookstore as a ministry. And so I immediately started thinking about a memory that I had from my childhood, and that was of growing up in a southwestern community, small town, kind of a melting pot community where we had all kinds of people from other countries. We were one of several Greek families. We had people from Russia, from Poland, from Bulgaria, from all European countries and different races in our community. And I remember as a little girl, with my mom and my yaya, several times a week, going to a little corner grocery store that we had. It was owned by a gentleman from Bulgaria, Benny Migas, and his wife, Mrs. Migas. I never knew her first name because those days everybody was Mr. and Mrs. But anyway, that little store, I have a really fond memory of going there. And it was just a small little store. He butchered meat in his country before he came here, so he lived on a farm and he brought in fresh meat every day and eggs to sell. And there were a few groceries also. There also was penny candy that we had little brown bags, and I could always pick 5 pieces because they were a penny a piece, so 5 cents was a lot. Those were fond memories. There was also free coffee. And Mrs. Migas would make sweets, and so she'd give away free bakery, to someone when they had coffee. But the aspect of that really stood in my memory as a little girl was that there were always so many people in that store. It was just filled every time we went there. And so in thinking about it, I realized that was where the neighborhood congregated. And it was a place where they felt hospitality, they felt warmth, they felt love. They were able to share news about who was coming from another country, who was bringing in more relatives, who was getting married, who was having a baby, who was sick, who had died. It was an area where people shared and congregated, and they had food nourishment, but they also had people nourishment. And that's something that today, with all the technology we have, there were no cell phones then, no tablets. I remember that as just the wonderment of so many people congregated. So as I was thinking about the impact of our bookstore, that memory also came alive to me because I view our bookstore as an extension of certainly the St. Matthew Hall where it's located. And it's a place where all of you and others who visit our church come in, and they extend their spiritual nourishment. So we don't have food in there, but they get their spiritual nourishment and inspiration and hospitality and love and warmth, not only from all the materials in the bookstore, books and icons and gifts that they can buy for themselves or give to others who might need some encouragement. But it's also a connectivity beyond what we hear in the liturgy and beyond what we have in our church. It's also another connectivity to our Lord and to the saints through all those items that people can browse and people can take home, buy, and order, and so forth. And anything that we don't have, we can always find and we can custom order from various monasteries that we deal with. Just a little history about the bookstore I wanted to share with you also is that, as I recall, it started here, and it was in the coat room where we now hang our coats. And Paul Noel was one of the people who was involved, he's in our choir, was involved with the bookstore. And then it moved, and it was in the reliquary room. And Terry and Steve Jacobson handled the bookstore at that time. And that was about a time when my family and I had been in the church for a few years, and I was looking for something. In addition, I belonged to Philoptochos, but I was looking for something else to nourish my spiritual soul. And so Terry was so gracious in bringing me in as a volunteer to help with her team in the bookstore. And there I learned that I also didn't have as much knowledge as I thought I had about our faith and our religion. And so, and my training and background in education is as a librarian, so I'm always in a learning mode. And it was hard for me growing up, as probably a lot of you can remember, when I would ask my mother, who was from Greece, I would ask her about something in the liturgy or something about church or something about our faith. Her answer to me was always, "Είναι mysterion," it's a mystery. So don't ask any questions. You just accept it, and that's the way it is. It is what it is. And so for me, being part of this bookstore ministry, it was an opportunity for me to learn and to grow in my own faith and to also help my family, because my children growing up were asking me questions. And of course, I was saying the same thing that my mother said to me. It's a mystery, in a mysterion. Don't ask about it. So the bookstore has always been an impact on me and helped me to have a learning aspect. And then the bookstore, during some renovation, was moved into where it is now in St. Matthew Hall, and I was given the opportunity to provide leadership for it. So it's pretty much in my wheelhouse, you know, based on my work as a librarian, reviewing and evaluating materials that are important for us to have in a thriving church community. And when I did some research on church bookstores, I found that bookstores and churches are evidence of a thriving church community. So I'm really proud to say that I think we have a bookstore that helps in our thriving community. I also wanted to give some thanks to some people who help in the bookstore, because none of our ministries can be accomplished on our own. And certainly Father and Luba and Joanne Collins in the office help during the week. And I don't know if some of you know that, even though our bookstore is mainly opened on Sundays after liturgy, and then during events and food fests and so forth, but also during the week, people from the community come in very often, or people who want to know more about our faith, or maybe somebody needs something quickly. And so our office team will very often open the bookstore and, you know, have people come in and browse and purchase whatever they need. And then I also have a team of volunteers who help on Sundays and help at various events. Thanya Walter, Rose Pagonis, my husband Frank, and my daughter Amanda McKinney. And then just this summer, I happened to have 2 junior volunteers. I have Zacchaeus Bosnos and Sloan McKinney, who come in and help in the bookstore. So I'm hoping that, you know, through our ministry of education, spirituality, knowledge, having fun and learning, I'm hoping that we can perpetuate also for some of our youth to help with our bookstores. So if you need anything, let us know. Please stop in and enjoy all the goodies we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. And again, one of Jean's secret superpowers is her ability to track down anything, any icon, obscure saint or special feast day. She is a wonderful resource to our parish, and I thank her for all that she does in providing a beautiful space for us to again gather, to share, and to nourish our souls, to learn, and to continue to grow. So thank you, Jean, and everyone who assists in the bookstore. With that, again, all of these ministries are a way in which God is active in working within the community. Christ was a teacher who taught, read the scriptures to his disciples and in the synagogue. He called the young children to him and said, "Let the children come to me." So today we see here in our bookstore and our youth ministries, the parish of St. Athanasius continuing and really thriving through the efforts of these ministries to do what Christ did and to have the impact that he had, as you heard today. So as we go forward, we will continue to hear about the impact of our ministries through the stories of the individuals who receive that impact, and we look forward to the further exploration and sharing of the experiences of our parishioners here within our parish. I pray that the Lord bless you today and always. Thank you.